Story 1. Make your own choices. Don't let others decide things for you. Story 2. Nobody's coming to save you. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. Do not sit around waiting for permission, for someone else to fix it, or for the perfect moment. Own your choices, embrace the mess, start now, and build something you're proud of. Story 3. Do not fall in love with the idea of someone. Fall in love with who they are right now. Story 4. It's okay to let go of things and people who no longer serve your growth. Story 5. It's okay that not everyone will understand you. You don't need to explain yourself to be at peace. Story 6. Nobody is thinking about you. Make yourself and those you care about happy. Fuck everybody else. Story 7. Just because you spent a long time making a mistake does not mean you have to continue. Story 8. Not everything you lost was a tragedy, and not everything you gained was a blessing. Story 9. Take care of your mental health. Never be ashamed to ask for help. Story 10. Do not trust anyone at work to have your back, even if you fight to improve things for them. I found this out the hard way. Story 11. Don't give it all away. Leave some for yourself so that if things go sideways, you will not have a hard time rebuilding. Regarding finances, I wish I had learned sooner how to allocate my funds properly when I was younger. Story 12. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Story 13. Do not give a problematic former partner another chance to waste your time any further. No matter how much they convince you they have changed and will do better. Laughing out loud. Story 14. People need you to be reliable. Not just at work, but in personal relationships. Not every friend, family member, or romantic partner can wait while you ghost them for weeks or months, and then pick up as if nothing happened when you are ready to hang out again. I need to put in at least as much as I expect to get out of a relationship. Story 15. It is better to have a small group of close friends than a large group of acquaintances. Story 16. Just because you invested a lot of time in something does not mean you should keep going if it is making you unhappy, whether it is a job, a relationship, a hobby, or a lifestyle. I stayed at a terrible job for too long because of the sunk cost fallacy. Story 17. Whenever you are experiencing intense emotions, do not make decisions. At the end of the day, you only have yourself, so make the right choices. Story 18. Stop caring so much about what other people think. You don't need to share every little aspect of your life on the internet for strangers to validate your existence. Story 19. No matter how much effort you put into someone, it will never be returned in equal measure. Story 20. Get your life and mental health in order before you start dating. People who are hurt often hurt others. Story 21. Do what is right for you and makes you happy, even if it disappoints your parents. Story 22. You cannot change people, and you cannot explain something to someone who has committed to not understanding it. Basically, live and let live. Story 23. Listening to others is more dangerous than listening to your own voice. Story 24. Those who worry about what other people think of them are often surprised at how little others think about them. Story 25. I guess I learned this a bit earlier, but here it is. Listen more than you speak. Story 26. People do not change unless they want to. I cannot control what others do. Story 27. Pay yourself first. No matter the amount, save $1, $5, or $20. Be consistent. With each paycheck, put that amount away for yourself. In time, it all adds up. Story 28. Spend time with the people you love. We don't get as many years as we think. Story 29. You do not have to get married or have a partner. Learn to be comfortable alone. Story 30. Learning to let go of things beyond my control would have saved me a lot of stress and heartache. It's all about focusing on what you can change. Story 31. It does not matter how hard you work. For your company, it will never be enough, and they can lay you off for whatever reason. Work to live, not the opposite. Story 32. Hold on to the person you love and do not let them go, no matter what. When love is that deep, work through the problems instead of running away when things get hard. I learned this too late. Story 33. If you buy a bike, Do not be stingy about investing in riding gear. I lost my best friend because of that. Story 34. You do not have to date someone just because you are afraid of hurting their feelings. Story 35. Don't let your friends' first impressions deter you from getting to know a girl. I let at least 2 very nice girls slip through my fingers because of peer pressure. Story 36. I wish someone had drilled into me the importance of compound interest. I love you, Dad, but this is the life lesson I needed. Story 37. Do not stay loyal in a miserable job. There are plenty of opportunities out there. Story 38. Start investing as soon as you begin working. When you are young and living at home, you often do not have mandatory expenses such as a mortgage or rent. Money you invest in your 20s can easily double by your 30s. Story 39. Comparison is the thief of joy. Live your life the way you want to. Story 40. Never loan money. If you cannot afford to give it away, then simply do not. Money is not worth ruining friendships over. Story 41. You can give it everything you have, but you might still lose. Story 42. Never give 100% at work. Hard work is rewarded with more work. Poop on company time. Story 43. People who are older than you aren't necessarily wiser or more knowledgeable about what they are doing. Story 44. You cannot make or force someone to love you. You can only show them who you are, and they either love you or they do not. Story 45. Being accepting and tolerant does not mean accepting whatever comes your way. Story 46. Do not surround yourself with people who do not appreciate you or who try to humiliate you under the guise of humor. It will be tiring at best and traumatic at worst. Story 47. Forgoing collision coverage can be more expensive than purchasing it. Story 48. Know that not everyone deserves access to your energy. Protecting your peace is a form of self-respect. Story 49. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Protecting your peace is a form of self-respect. Story 50. Giving too much doesn't make people like you more. It makes them respect you less. Story 51. Don't waste time on people who don't respect your boundaries. Story 52. The way others treat you is not a reflection of your worth but of their capacity and of their relationship with themselves, including their healing, self-awareness, emotional capacity, and nervous system state. In other words, people can only meet you as deeply as they have met themselves, and they can only act within the limits of their capacity. Story 53. I wish I had listened to the people who were trying to help me. Story 54. Most people lie all the time. They only talk and do not act. Story 55. If you do not know which choice to make, begin by avoiding the choice you should not make. Story 56. Dyslexia is difficult as a child. As an adult, it can be a superpower. I see a much bigger picture than most. Be kind. It does not matter how you look, how much money you have, or how smart you are. Be genuine and kind, and you will find your people. Story 57. People show you what you mean to them. Believe them the first time. Story 58. Sometimes the person you cared most about would not even give a shit about your existence. That is deep and very hurtful. Story 59. It is very important to advocate for yourself with every doctor and to ask the right questions when you have medical concerns. Doctors miss or dismiss more than I expected. One extra question, laboratory order, or earlier visit can change everything. Story 60. I wish I'd learned sooner that saying yes to everything doesn't make you a good person. It just makes you exhausted. For years, I thought being kind meant always being available, helpful, and accommodating. I burned myself out trying to make everyone else comfortable while ignoring how uncomfortable I was becoming. It took losing my health, my peace, and a few relationships to realize that boundaries aren't selfish. They're survival. Now I say no when I need to, even if it disappoints someone, because I'd rather be at peace than liked by everyone. Story 61. Don't say yes when you want to say no. Don't worry that you will make someone mad or sad. Story 62. You really need to start saving for retirement immediately. Story 63. I wish I had learned that adulthood is just an unrestricted childhood, with all the attendant fears, mistakes, and challenges of navigating adult life. Story 64. Use a binder clip to organize cables behind your desk. Costs nothing and saves your sanity. Story 65. Use the moonstone on Nidorino or Nidorina immediately for the best stats. Story 66. In the end, it is all about you. No one is going to save you. Story 67. Do not be afraid to take risks. Live your life for yourself. Story 68. Don't be a coward and sell out when things get dicey. Buy as much as you can and hold. Story 69. Spending money to impress people is dumb. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Keep up with yourself. Story 70. Invest in an index fund early when you have funds to invest. Story 71. Spend time with the ones you love. Don't wait. I hate to be that guy, but I blew off my dad and my grandfather when I was growing up because I was busy. I lost them both within a year, and all I could think about was how I wish I had taken the pictures, how I wish I had stopped by just to say hello, and how I wish I had helped get things out of the attic. I would give a year of my life for just one more day with them. Story 72. Sometimes you will lose. You can do everything right, follow the rules, and stay optimistic, and yet you may still end up with the short end of the stick through no fault of your own. Accept it and move on. Learn to accept a loss. Story 73. The back of my head is none of my business. For me, this means I cannot control everything, including how others see me, and that is okay. Story 74. Do not expect gratitude or that someone will help you just because you help them. Story 75. When your back is against the wall, no one can stick a knife in it. Story 76. You do not like everyone, so it is okay if some people do not like you. Story 77. Boundaries are important. It's not your job to make other people happy at your own expense. Story 78. It's okay if people don't like you. There is no need to exhaust yourself to earn approval or affection. Move on and spend your time with people who actually like you. You only have so much energy. Invest it in people who invest in you. Story 79. Not everyone deserves to know the soft parts of you. Some people only show up to see if you're still bleeding. Story 80. If you keep making bad choices despite having the best intentions, find a good therapist as soon as possible and stick with it. Understanding yourself will change the rest of your life. Story 81. You cannot earn your way into being valued by people who have already decided you are disposable. Your energy is a finite resource, and pouring it into the wrong places is the costliest expense you will ever have. Story 82. Don't say anything about anyone you wouldn't say to their face. Story 83. Nobody will like or respect you more because you are a super agreeable people pleaser. Be the bitch you truly are. Story 84. You don't need to be anyone but yourself. I spent so much time thinking I was less because I did not live up to the extrovert ideal like my sister and peers. I always felt it would hold me back. Even now in my teaching role, I feel pressure to adapt my style to be more dominant and strict, but I have come to realize there is power in who I am. I am kind, empathetic, a good listener, and understanding. This is what makes me who I am and what makes me a good friend, a valued family member, and effective at my job. Story 85. I wish I had learned that prayer and hard work are the best keys to success. Story 86. People lie for reasons that do not always make sense. Save your trust for someone who shows up for you the way you show up for them. When you have an emotionally overwhelming challenge or loss, ask for help because trauma impacts your health. Story 87. Just because someone is family, it doesn't mean they actually love or like you. Story 88. Trust no one. Be nobody. Other than close friends and family, the only thing people should know about you is your first name. Story 89. Some people have the superpower of creating problems out of nothing. Do not let them into your life. Story 90. Not everyone is your friend. Be careful what you say and assume someone who is against you is always listening. Story 91. Don't swim oceans for people who can't even dip a toe for you. Story 92. Remember that every time you do something, it may be your last. Even though you see people every day, you may not see them tomorrow. Life is made up of moments that seem infinitely long at the time, but looking back they pass in the blink of an eye. In fewer words, cherish the moment. Story 93. Other people do not do what they claim to believe, and I do not have to be 100% transparent with everyone in my life. Story 94. People are not divided into good or evil, and actions are not black and white. Two people in an argument can both be right. It took me an embarrassingly long time to understand nuance, and I think I might be on the spectrum. Story 95. Turns out it is okay to occasionally press the do not care button about other people's feelings. Story 96. It is not a meritocracy. Hard work only gets you more work. Story 97. The attitude that you do not owe anyone anything is toxic. If you care about someone, show up and give them your time and energy, but not too much. Story 98. Don't be afraid to take up space in the world, metaphorically or physically. Story 99. You will never feel ready because ready is not a feeling. It is a decision. I learned this in the past 2 months. I have spent my entire life feeling unsure and scared, and only now am I making choices despite uncertainty. Story 100. I learned this at the right time. Be loyal to yourself first. For example, treat yourself as the company, not your employer. Do not hand over your identity and worth to a job. People grind themselves down and get disrespected, then turn around and justify doing the same to others because they had to go through it too. That is nonsense. When someone has been in the same role or company for 10 to 20 years under terrible conditions, it should not be put on a pedestal as a badge of honor. It should be examined with scrutiny. That is not loyalty. That is resignation, denial, or something much darker. Story 101. Culture, background, experiences, family, education, location, beliefs, biases, health, and many other factors are filters through which you see the world, interpret events, and respond to them. Everyone's filters are different. Ask questions and hear people out instead of dismissing those who disagree as bad or wrong. Story 102. We cannot control the wind, but we can adjust our sails. Any Dogman fans? Story 103. I wish I had learned sooner that adulthood is just searching online for how to do things your parents did for free, powered by coffee, poor decisions, and the occasional bro, trust me. Also, never trust a fart after 30. Story 104. No one sees the effort, only the achievement. Stop looking for attention and keep your head straight. Story 105. Start preparing for admissions in 11th grade. The admissions process is the worst time of your life, and I am in mine right now. Story 106. How do you tell people not to report you when you are explaining what matters to you, but their trust issues get in the way and they refuse to listen, saying, I can't trust you? Story 107. Just because someone is nice to you does not mean they like you. I was that desperate for approval for a very long time. Story 108. You can't make everyone like you. People will hate you for no reason, and it is not your fault. Story 109. If you eat too many donuts, you will become overweight. Story 110. I will be miserable forever and never have anyone who will love me. Maybe if I had figured that out sooner, I would have fucking killed myself by now. Story 111. Nobody ever truly understands what you are thinking and going through. Try your best to express yourself with full honesty. There are people who may not like it, but that is all right. It is not that they are bad people. They simply cannot go where you are going, and you cannot go where they are going. This is like the boosters on a rocket. Story 112. It's okay to put yourself first. Doing so allows you to be a better person and contribute to the greater good. Story 113. Learn to set boundaries both personally and professionally. Story 114. Those men do not actually like you. They just want to take advantage of you. Also, do not try alcohol or cocaine. Story 115. I have learned a little about life and our journey, so we are at peace wherever we are along the journey, karmic or not. There is more, but even now I feel appreciated. Story 116. When someone asks you to do something, stop what you are currently doing, do it immediately, and move on with your day. Usually it only takes 5 to 20 minutes. and you will most likely gain a friend or a promotion over time. Story 117. Peace is more important than being right. Not every fight deserves your energy. Story 118. I have long said that I am the assistant manager of my life. I am fully responsible for my successes and failures, but my advisors and loved ones have helped steer me. Some decisions I made without consulting others, but the best ones resulted from consultation and careful analysis of the facts as I knew them. I have always struggled with emotions versus logical decision-making. Story 119. Do not indulge in pleasure when you are young. Instead, continuously learn and improve yourself. Story 120. Health is wealth. I am not unhealthy, but I did unhealthy things in my younger years. Story 121. Sometimes we look for love in others when we should prioritize ourselves. Story 122. The sooner you stop comparing yourself to others, the sooner you'll actually be happy. Story 123. Regret does not come immediately. It arrives in installments over time. So when you want to do something, just do it. At least later, when you think about it, you will have the answer to your question, what if? Story 124. Know your worth and associate with people who know theirs. Story 125. Trust, once broken, will be very difficult to earn back, and it will never be the same. Story 126. Boundaries can feel like betrayal. Self-hatred is a form of self-harm. Hannah Rubin. If you never try, it will always remain impossible. Happiness and grief can coexist. Don't mind me. I've been through a lot these past 2 years. Story 127. Pick and choose your battles wisely. Be careful who you vent to. Story 128. You don't need to have it all figured out. Nobody really does. Story 129. I'm trying to be adaptive. I am exploring on my own right now, and as an adult I can't adapt easily. I just can't do it alone. I really wish I had learned it myself. Story 130. Medications for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder will not change your personality or turn you into a zombie. Story 131. Nobody cares, and that is not always a bad thing. Do what you want. Story 132. Always brush your teeth after a meal. Do not make the same mistakes I did. Story 133. Not everyone needs to be in your life. Many people are wolves in sheep's clothing. They will do anything to enter your personal space, gain your trust, and then destroy your life in the worst possible way. Be mindful of who you let close to you. Story 134. Mirror and match the energy of others. Do not give too much to people who are not showing up for you. Story 135. No one cares, so focus on yourself rather than trying to please others. Story 136. Worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do but gets you nowhere. Story 137. If you are being discriminated against and a lawyer says you can sue, you should absolutely sue. Story 138. Learning for straight A's makes your life harder, not easier. Story 139. You alone hold the keys to your happiness, peace, and fulfillment. Take responsibility for your life. Story 140. Being a traditional, honest, decent, law-abiding, tax-paying citizen does not get you anywhere in life. Story 141. Don't waste energy trying to please everyone. Some people just won't like you, and that's okay. Story 142. Seriously, never play with your credit score. Everyone is on the same path as you. We all die one day, we all bleed, and we all put our pants on one leg at a time. Story 143. Solitude lets you be with yourself. It helps you connect with your soul and your mind. Story 144. Drink more water. Maintain a regular sleep schedule. Sit with good posture. Take care of your back and body. Story 145. I learned how to write software in the early 2000s and can get a job in information technology where I can work from home. Unfortunately, I trained as an electrician and have been ill for the last 18 years with daily migraines and cluster headaches. Story 146. No one has their shit together. When you realize this, it is freeing to go for it. Story 147. Never believe words when the speaker's face does not match their tone, nor kind words that lack genuine emotion. Story 148. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It just means you value your time and energy. Story 149. Appreciate what you have. I hope I learned this before I lost and wasted those precious moments. Story 150. Play the damn game. Do not expect things to be perfect. They never will. Story 151. Work to live. Do not live to work, especially if your employer does not deserve you. Story 152. Just because women find you attractive does not mean they want to date you. Story 153. All the people on the street who you think are watching you and judging your every move really could not care less. Story 154. Be yourself and do not pay attention to what others think of you. Some people will like you and some will not. Do not be trendy. Forge your own path and do not try to keep up with the Joneses. Story 155. You should look up to no one other than yourself. Your future self depends on you to make the right choices now. Story 156. No one is entitled to your time, attention, or help, no matter who they are or what their circumstances may be. Do not make other people's problems your problems. Family does not always have your back or your best interests in mind. Coworkers are not your friends. No is a complete sentence. I have learned many hard lessons. However difficult and painful they were, I learned from them, and that is the important thing. Story 157. It is hard to decide exactly why. Maybe I choose to give a chance to rude people with a difficult fate who do not plan to change. Story 158. Give up ineffective social interactions. I have wasted my entire youth on pointless socializing. If I could go back to being 20, I would live a quiet life on my own. Story 159. Recognize your talents and focus on them. You can't become what you're not suited for. Story 160. That love for men is conditional upon you providing value every day to others. Story 161. You can try your hardest and still fail. It is disappointing, but focus on the fact that you did your best. Story 162. Stop worrying about what everyone thinks. Nobody's paying that much attention anyway. Story 163. If human resources tells me to buy a stock at its all-time high, I wait to see whether there is heavy selling shortly after they recommend it. I have saved quite a bit of money by never following human resources advice when it is in the interest of the company. Story 164. Study whenever you have the opportunity. Life is short and it can get complicated. Story 165. Life is not always fair. Choose people who choose you. Story 166. I wish I had learned sooner that not everyone who leaves is a loss. Story 167. How admirable people we don't know are. Miller Fernandez. Story 168. Health is a non-renewable resource. Neglect in youth compounds with age. Story 169. It doesn't get better, and if it does, it will be short-lived. But it does change. I would have saved myself so much heartbreak and unyielding hope if I had realized this sooner. Story 170. Do not work hard for loyalty or promotions. Work hard to keep padding your resume. Story 171. You cannot save everyone, and you are under no obligation to set yourself on fire just to keep them warm. I spent much of my life trying to help friends avoid mistakes, and that cost me a lot of time and money. Sometimes people have to go through things to learn their lesson and, hopefully, get through it. I cannot say I regret trying. I would not be able to sleep at night if I watched friends make decisions I knew would hurt them because they were inexperienced where I was not. Unfortunately, this meant watching many friends who are women go through relationships with narcissists, explaining the patterns and red flags that were obvious to me. Then I would sit on the sidelines and watch it play out as I predicted, sometimes years later. Being there as a non-judgmental friend when they were isolated and scared to leave on their own was the important part. Many people have given up and offer no sympathy by the time they are ready to leave, and that makes it much harder for them. Story 172. Go to therapy the first time you feel depressed. That way you won't spiral into a severe depressive episode that could take years off your life. Story 173. What is bothering you right now will not matter after a few years. Story 174. It is better to be alone than stuck in an unhappy marriage. Do not be afraid to be a divorcee, as it is just a word. Everyone should take one solo vacation in their life. Story 175. Time spent scrolling could have been used to learn a skill or even earn a degree. Story 176. You can never be too discerning when it comes to researching doctors, medications, and procedures. Story 177. You do not need a socially acceptable reason to leave a relationship. Simply not wanting to be in it anymore is enough. Do not waste your time or theirs. Story 178. Most things in life can be rebuilt, replaced, or repaired. What is broken is not always lost. With patience and effort, it can be restored. Whether it's objects or opportunities, the ability to rebuild reminds us that endings often carry the seeds of new beginnings. Story 179. No more than an eighth of mushrooms and one acid tab. Story 180. People on Reddit love to drag you. I hope it gets them off. Story 181. If you love someone, let them go. People leave, and even if you do not want them to, you must let them. Story 182. Life lesson I wish I had learned sooner. Building wealth is not the sole key to a peaceful life. Financial stability provides security and freedom to pursue meaningful goals, reduce stress, and support others. Story 183. Trusting myself earlier would have saved me so much chaos. Story 184. If you cannot fix or deal with something you are stressed about right now, there is no point in sitting and worrying. You will only have to deal with it multiple times. Story 185. Correlation is not causation. For example, not wearing a seatbelt does not reduce your chance of dying from cancer. Story 186. It was never about me, but everything to do with them. Story 187. It's perfectly fine to open yourself up to others who care about you. Not everyone is trying to belittle you into nothingness. My insecurities related to this have caused me to fail in past relationships, among other factors. Story 188. Let people leave you. You will be fine. You do not need to water yourself down to keep them in your life. Let them go. Story 189. People change for better or worse. Do not expect someone with whom you lost contact to act the same as they did 5 years ago. They are often a totally different person now. Story 190. Act now so you can reap the benefits later. I would be living a much better life if I had started working on myself 3 years ago, and I regret being too lazy to get my life together. Story 191. Learn to sit with your thoughts, recognize the sensations of an activated nervous system, and manage them in a healthy way. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.